Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Oh, welcome to Coping with Life. I am your host, Scott. I hope you're doing well. So on this amazing Saturday, by the way, if you didn't know, it is Saturday, and all my episodes go live Saturdays at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern. And I don't know the exact time because so it would be roughly 3-4 in the morning in Japan. Anyway, it's noon Pacific time. So whatever it is in your world, either it's Saturday or Sunday when they go live. Anyway, I'm already rambling. So it is June. It is June 3rd. I'm not complaining. My June so far has been pretty good. So before I start rambling on what this episode is about, we have a couple things that I want to mention. So next week, I don't know what it's going to be about, but it's going to be a great episode because it's actually my birthday on a Saturday. Yay! Which you have two of my favorite things on the same day. I do like Saturdays. And then we have the 17th is on a Saturday, which I don't like looking ahead and figuring out what there, and so June, trying to figure out, many ideals, and but right now I get to focus on the episode today. There's a lot of things happening, and with the tail end of June, which would be the first episode of July, where I'm going to be in Worlds of Pain because of teeth extractions, and going to try and figure out stuff, but one episode at a time. And I do like to ramble. I'm known to ramble time to time. I do. I like that world. I like that world. I like the rambling world. But I do like the world ramble. Word. Okay. So I'm going to talk about video games. So I suffer from mental illnesses. I suffer from disabilities. I have autism. I have a lot of things, it is easier for me to tell you what I don't suffer from. It will still take a long time. But I appreciate everybody. I'm not ending the episode. I'm just telling everybody I appreciate everybody. But I'm going to talk about video games and my mental health and my mental well-being and games that really, really helped shape who I am. You have so this is going to just be, story time with Scotty. So I grew up playing the Super Nintendo. Didn't have many games, but there was a lot of games that I really enjoyed. Games like Paperboy 2, Metal Warriors, which is a Konami game, Gradius 3. There is wrestling games, Super Mario World, that was a classic. And I always enjoyed playing that, learning its secrets. And I'm gaming is a big part of my life. And for somebody who really didn't communicate very well, and I still don't really communicate very well, I went from the Super Nintendo to the PlayStation 1. So the game that I enjoyed was Final Fantasy on the Super Nintendo. And games with a lot of reading. Now, I'm going to explain myself, because I'm not that person anymore. But games like Final Fantasy, I didn't really do school very well. But I would read dialogue from Final Fantasy, Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy on PlayStation, because, they kind of tell you what to do, because you can get lost, especially Final Fantasy 4. You can get really lost if you really don't read the dialogue, or because this was really before the internet, where you could get walkthroughs, and there was tragedy guidebooks out there, but I ain't got the money for that. I'm lucky to be able to play the game. Plus, I was very young, But one of my favorite PlayStation games was Final Fantasy 8. Really liked 8. To this day, I still like 8. Not my favorite. My favorite is 9. For many reasons. I related to 9. Then when I was a senior in high school, I got a PS2. And then as a adult later in life, I got a PS3. And then I moved to Xbox. You know, I'm going to be honest, the PlayStation 4 really, really didn't appeal to me. And I'm like, with the Xbox One coming out, I'm gonna go over in that world. And I like that world. And it really wasn't until the I do maybe 20. It may be 2018, maybe 2017. I get those years confused. But it wasn't until late November, in, well, maybe this will help you. I'm not gonna look it up. But it was the year that, Call of Duty World War II, came out. And the PS4 was camo. The special, Call of Duty camo PlayStation 4. Because, if you would like to know something about me, I am a huge fan of camo. I like camo a lot. So I was, I'm like, you know what? I will get a PS4. I was basically, so I will slightly tell the story. I just got back from a trip, and it's like, you're gonna get a PS4, and you're gonna get Final Fantasy 14, and we're all gonna play it. Okay. And so that's how I got a PS4. And so I'm not counting the passion game, which was the Call of Duty World War II. But I remember the first 3 games that I bought for the PS4, and I was still kind of in the physical age. I'm now majority all digital. And it was the first 3 games was Final Fantasy 14, Gran Turismo Sport, and NASCAR Heat 2. Those were the first 3 games that I bought, and to this day, I have never played World War II. Just putting it out there. I'm not a Call of Duty person. But I like my racing. I like my Final Fantasy. And then we move into the current generation where I have the PlayStation 5, I got that on launch, which I'm very lucky that I got it on launch. And then we have the Xbox Series X, which Series S and then Series X that they came out with, but in my opinion, and I'm not a fanboy, and I'm just saying personally why I prefer the PlayStation 5 over the Xbox Series whatever, is because they updated how SharePlay works. Now, for people who don't know, the last couple of years I've been pretty sick, dealing with a lot of illnesses and trying to go through all of that, and I feel a lot better. It just takes time. But having people who know that I'm not really in the mood to play video games, that I'm not feeling very well, having them being able to say, can you get on the PlayStation? I don't really wanna. It's like, and then they can play the game, and I can watch them play. You know, that means the world to me, because that is, you can't really do that on the Xbox. On the PlayStation 4, it was a different way, but, if I did want to, play NASCAR for a little bit, I would put the SharePlay, because you can do picture-in-picture, and so that is a feature that is used a lot in my world. And even if I'm playing a new game, or if I am stuck, which happens a lot, or if there's something funny that's going on, I can say, hey, here's a screen share, watch what my game is doing. Like, I was playing Jedi Survivor, and I'm playing with somebody else, so we're playing the game at the same time. They were a little ahead of me, and I'm just doing some side missions, and I was being shot at by droids who were under the earth, under the playing field. And I thought that was hilarious. So I sent a screen share, and they're like, you really do have a broken game over there. Because I was saying many of, there was like this pipe, in, Kobo. There was this little mine shaft, and there was a pipe. And Cal, C-A-L, Cal Kestis, I would jump on the pipe, and then he wouldn't let go of the pipe, and I had to reload, and then I did it again, and it was frustrating because I wanted to explore this place, and didn't really work out to me very well. But Yeah, and I'm gonna mention this because I if this is the only episode that you hear from me, it's good to know. I play majority of all my games. If if it is warranted, I play my games on story mode or easy mode. I repeat, I play my games on story mode or easy mode. With everything that I suffer from, everything that I do, I just want to play a game. I want to enjoy myself. I want to have a fun time. And like when it comes to racing game, yeah, I may pump up the difficulty a little bit. Because I don't want to win by 72 laps. Unless, but I don't want to lose by 72 laps either. There's a happy medium. I may find that when it comes to racing games. Sometimes I do want to win by 72 laps because I have those days. But there are people in my circle where they're like, no, you are going to play normal or a little harder difficulty, and I was like, okay. And I told them that, you pick the game and I will do normal. And there is an asterisk because now I'm not telling them this because they may abuse this loophole, but they were kind enough to let me play Jedi Survivor. And so they wanted me to play it. I really enjoyed Fallen Order. And so I'm like, okay, I will do normal mode. But I'm not actually taking the the thing that I promised him, the quote unquote redeem of the bet of playing a game on normal. So they still have that. They still can redeem that whenever they want, because they were kind enough to let me play Jedi Survivor. So, so they still have the, and for 98% of Jedi Survivor, I 100% played on normal. 98% of the time. And I'm going to tell you too. And I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I'm going to just say the final boss. And the final boss, and then there was a boss a little bit before that that I tried because they were watching me play. I tried for maybe an hour and a half. It wasn't it didn't fit my playstyle, and I tried really, really hard. And that was the first time that I bumped down my difficulty. Just one. Just went too easy. And it still took me a little bit with that playstyle. And then the final boss was hard, and I bumped it down a little bit. Took my time. But I have beat Jedi Survivor. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait until the next game in the trilogy. And video games are my happy space. Recently, if you're not following me on twitch.tv/Hellbolt, HELLBOLT, I stream a little bit, not always. I do have a rule. I've mentioned it earlier, but if this is the only episode you listen to, I will only stream when I feel good. And that will change. So yesterday, I was okay for about 20 minutes. And then I started not feeling well. Because I'm like, I'm going to do this race a couple times. I'm going to, kill a couple of hours. Doing the same hour race. I only did that race one time. Because I stream via my PS5. And I have a PS5 camera. I kind of just stopped the camera halfway through. I just started not feeling too well. I wasn't there mentally. Like, I'm done. But I finished the race on stream. And then I went and laid down. But I've been streaming a little bit more, just because I'm having fun playing video games, and I will only stream when I feel good or good enough, and talking. And majority of the time I don't talk, unless people engage in conversation. And that's what I do. Some people like, hear the in-game music, if warranted, and a few others. Excuse me, a few other things. But my main priority is this podcast of mental health. But I play a lot of video games, and I will try many different games. But one of the reasons why I brought up the difficulty setting is I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be frustrated. Because, that's my everyday life. People don't understand me very well. Life is difficult as it is. I basically am living on hard mode. And, I want to enjoy games and just relax. And I don't want to suffer. I don't want to, I don't want to play Elden Ring and die 9 hours to the same boss. That is not appealing to me. And I have played Elden Ring for maybe 4 hours. and majority of that was just idle. It, it just didn't mesh well with me. I do like the music, but that's not a type of game for me. And I like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and I got the remastered version. I played that for a little bit, and I'm okay with that. You know, it's hard. It's meant to be hard. But you know, I sometimes I get in the mood that I want to, maybe play a difficult game that doesn't last too long. But I at least own it. So if I like to have a variety of games for many different reasons. Excuse me. But I like being variety and just it's good to have. Just never know when I may get into them. And it does look a lot better than the PS3 version, in my opinion. But video games and my mental health, video games make me happy. And it is an amazing thing, and I want to take a deep dive more on this. This is just a little overview, a little sneak peek of video games and me. But growing up, I really didn't talk much, and even games that I haven't played for over 20 years, or a lot longer than that, games like Metal Warriors, I was talking about that on the stream not too long ago. I got it confused with a different game, which happens. But I like video games. I grew up playing wrestling games. RPGs. I'm a big fan of RPGs. And the thing that I really like doing, and I mentioned it on my podcast a few times, and maybe I can explain a little bit. Maybe I'll go into detail in a different episode. But I like playing the game at the same time as somebody else, and I have somebody who I get to do that with many games. We did that with Jedi Survivor, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, the Horizon Zero Dawn, with Aloy. We like to play the game together at the same time. When we first started doing it, we we didn't have the luxury of share screen, so we would voice chat of, oh, um, okay, where are you? And we would beat the game roughly within an hour of each other. And I'm going to be completely honest. Mass Effect 1, I remember very well. Mass Effect 3, I remember very well. Mass Effect 2. Yep. Mass Effect 2. That was a game. That was a lot of fun. I do not remember majority of that game. Completely honest. The parts that I do remember, I remember conversations. I remember what was going on my screen during Mass Effect 2. I really enjoyed the story of Mass Effect. Now, but that was something that we Assassin's Creed. Wow, that game, I really enjoy Assassin's Creed. And I can't wait until later in October. For the new game Mirage. And for people who would like to know, my favorite Assassin's Creed game is the first one. I really enjoyed the first game. And I had a lot of fun. I like them all. I really enjoyed Black Flag. And there's one Assassin's Creed game that I have not beat. I haven't even played it very long. I don't know why I didn't jive with it. Granted, it came out during a time where I wasn't mentally there. Kind of along the same way of Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, so the Assassin's Creed game that I have not beat is Valhalla, and Cyberpunk, I stopped playing, and I haven't went back. I can't go back. My brain, my brain is having trouble with a lot of things. But when the point where Jackie died, the stuff that I was going through in her life, I apologized to the person who I was playing it with, and they totally understood. But and for somebody who really enjoyed The game, really look forward to getting the game. I just can't go back to it. But being able to watch them play it, hey, I'm all for it. But I'm not perfect. And I get to be a very emotional Pokemon. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And there's a lot of things like that. And it's not just video game that it goes to. There's some albums, some music CDs, albums, vinyl, whatever it may be to you, that I can't listen to because of many reasons. Call me crazy, but I am. I am crazy. But I try and have a good time. And there's some games out there like, Final Fantasy X. I like that. That's a good type of emotion. And sometimes I enjoy sad stories. Sometimes I don't. But with that said, I want to do more talks about video games. Go deep dive, pick a game that means a lot to me growing up. And play. So some of those games, I will say Metal Gear Solid. Gran Turismo. Those are some of the games that mean the world to me in many different ways. And then there's things like Legend of Dragoon. And I mentioned it when it came out. I was playing it on stream. And I stopped playing it. Because the person that I play video games with, they're like, I want to play that. I'm like, okay, we'll play it together. We have not. But that's okay. I am used to disappointments. I'm used to a lot of things. But when it comes to video games, it is it's my happy space. And I like when I can play video games with others. And sometimes I just like watching other people play. And it just depends on my mood and what I'm currently going through in life. So I appreciate y'all. I'm going to call it an episode. This is just a teaser. This is just the beginning. It may be 19 years before I get back to it, but hopefully I can get talking more about video games. And there's a lot of like wrestling games, and many others that have been vital to my life. But video games make my soul happy. Dealing with a lot of things in life. Being able to hear stories and enjoy some great games makes me happy. So, thank you very much. Whoops. Like I say every week, I appreciate you. And however you cope with disabilities, mental illness, or people around you that suffer, give them time. Be patient with them. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that they mean a lot to you. Tell them that you hope that they can achieve their dreams, their goals. I wish great things for myself. I deserve good things. And I wish good things would happen to me. Until next week, which it is a birthday episode. And I won't know what next week will bring until it's next week. But know that you're loved. Know that you matter. And no matter what you are doing, I hope you achieve it. You mean the world. And until next week, please be safe. Know that I appreciate you, no matter where you are in the world. And I bid you all adieu.